to your point, you're saying that there's multi-talented artists who can create in any genre, produce and compose in any genre, who have been doing this since they were little, right? Kibo would be taking this boys up and down in his security uniform, place to perform. So when you're looking at it from the perspective of, I've been at this over a decade, 2 decades, longer than you can imagine,
Yeah.
like, who are you to tell me when my art is ready? From the perspective of a creative, that can be very a hostile situation to be in. And so business is trying to do business as it's being done, but it sounds like also managing the personalities behind each
Yeah.
role is also super important, right?
Yeah.
And having the leadership role, or being the person who signs the checks, doesn't absolve you from having certain conversations, and maybe even given a certain level of respect to people who do have to look for you for their money, for their connects and so forth. It's a two-way street when respect is concerned. And I've learned,
Right.
especially among men, among people across cultures, but I think especially among men, and being from the Caribbean, and you kind of having his heritage, like, respect is the only thing, right? Respect
Right.
and communication. So it's really hard to get anything done if respect is removed from the equation. And so that's something that I remember always. And I think it's respect is the ultimate currency. And so I'm sure all parties
Yeah.
will.
But along with that, currency is currency. So money is currency, right? So if I'm paying for something, I also have a say. I might even have more say than the creator, the person that's creating the thing. If I'm paying for it, I may have more say than you who created it, right? So it's no different from, let's put it in the terms of watching a television show. There's a certain show that comes on. Let's say we're talking about Game of Thrones.
Hmm.
Game of Thrones is going to come on Sunday night at 9 p.m. East Coast time. Why doesn't it come on at Thursday at 5 o'clock in the afternoon? That might be when the creator feels like, hey, I'm awake at that time. On Sunday, I can't really tell you what's happening for me. So, no, you can't put it out. You can't show it on Sundays at 9 p.m. because I don't want it on that day. But I'm paying for it. So in my order of my Rolodex of all the shows that I have, i.e., all the artists that I have on my roster, I can fit you in Sundays at 9 p.m. Okay? So we have to go through Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday of artists. That's my order. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And I can get to you on Sunday. But in this case, it seemed like they did not want to wait until Sunday. They were like, no, we can go on Monday. We're in the same realm as Monday. So put us on Monday. And if not Monday, then Tuesday. But why should we have to wait until Friday or Saturday? And now you're telling me I got to wait until Sunday? No. See what I'm saying? So in business, there's always a protocol that you end up having to go through and stuff like that. And if you don't have an understanding of that, then sure, you're going to quote unquote act out, until later on when you actually have a sense of the business, or you go into the same business for yourself. So
Hey.
now when you become the label, the man, Akon, when you become that, then you start saying, oh, wow, damn, the things Akon was saying was actually true. Wow. Because now I have artists that I'm responsible for, and they would love to come out tomorrow, but they're not ready to come out tomorrow.
Mm.
You know what I'm saying? So now you have a better understanding. Now you have researched. Now you have the knowledge. And that's where everything is key, is having the knowledge. So that's why I can say Rock City did not have the knowledge at that time. And if Akon did have the knowledge, he did a very poor job at actually letting them know or teaching them in those moments. I don't think he did a good job at teaching them how it went, how it should go, and stuff like that. So that's why you ended up having that disgruntled argument. And that's why I said it's a misunderstanding is what led to this whole campaign that we all know and pretty much started to love. Because, you know, we just love hearing PTFAO. We loved hearing it. Whether you knew what it stood for or not, you just love to hear it. You know what I mean? And that's what ended up happening.
There's a saying that says, you know, it takes a decade for an overnight success and sometimes 2 decades. And it sounds like there was a lot of tuition onto life that was being paid, some parts in public image, sometimes parts in public muck-ups and public lessons by both sides, where people are trying to come at business with personal feelings, right?
Yes.
And taking maybe the personal into the professional space.
And which is a natural emotion until you understand that you have to separate the two. When you first get into any job, you bring your personal feelings into it until you understand the way that job and the way that business flows. Then you're like, oh, wait a minute. Oh, I clock in and I clock out. Ah, I see. So that's like you asking me earlier about now you're seeing me for one of the very few times without my mask on. You know, I'm not 24/7 on a stage. So I'm not going to wear my mask 24/7. You know, I'm not going to do my interview with my mask on because that's not what we're on. My mask is for when I'm on stage. And really and truly, my mask is for when I'm on stage with Akon. Because that's what I built that for. I remember when I was DJing for Eve, and she asked me one time am I not going to wear the kilt? And I was like, no, that's what I do with Akon. And then when I DJed for TLC, you know, I was very skeptical about wearing a mask with TLC until I decided, because there are points in time when I'm performing with Akon that I may take the mask off, you know, for certain segments of the show where I would do it with no mask, and then put on the next mask or whatever. But when I DJed for TLC for the 4 years, I absolutely have never taken my mask off. There were fans that were pissed or upset that I never showed my face. I absolutely never, not one time with TLC on stage, have I showed my face. I always kept the mask on. That was a choice that I made for what I was doing with them. You see what I'm saying? So you're not 24/7 on this thing. You have to know when to clock in and when to clock out. So
it's work life and home life.
There you go. You know, and you know, there could be home life, yeah, but there's just off the stage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Because as soon as I get off the stage, my mask is off. I go to the dressing room, I change my clothes, I come back out and I hang out. You know, I may go out to the audience and watch the show, and nobody would say anything if I'm wearing a hat, of course. Then, you know, they won't even recognize that I'm the guy that just got off the stage, that's just there watching whoever else is performing, if it's one of those type of shows, or, you know, if I'm just in a setting where nobody can recognize me aside from what they know of me to have on the mask, you know, within these past few years, because it's been some years now that I'm wearing the mask. So, you know, being able to turn it on and off is you know, where it's at for the industry. So even for Rock City or for Akon, learning the business or knowing the business, you may not have known it earlier in your career, but eventually you end up learning it later on, you know, and then you have some form of understanding as to what was happening prior, what was happening before. Then you can say, oh man, I was wrong for what I did, or the way I went about it. I mean, I have been wrong for what I did. Let's say, okay, I got no regrets. But the way I went about it, I actually could have done it better. I would have done it differently than that. Wow. You know, in hindsight, now you look back and you say, man, I shouldn't have done it like that. But, you know, you all grow, you all live, you learn. Rock City and Akon are great friends to today. You know, we all have very good working relationships and stuff like that. Them guys do music together all the time, you know. So, you know, those are things that, as bad as it may have looked on the internet, in real life, it's not like that. But what you don't want to do is even create that perception for anyone. You don't want to have the audience thinking or feeling like there's some big rift between the two when there's not. You know, so that's what you look back in hindsight and say, man, that video of us having that bad argument with Akon, it doesn't look good now. Now that we're to the ages that we are now, and we've been in the industry as long as we have, now you look back and like, oh man, I shouldn't have done that. That was a bad look. That's not teachable for anyone. You know, if I'm in a position now where I want to teach younger people, how can I teach them? And then they go back and look at what I did and they say, yo, you're a hypocrite. Because you're telling me not to do that to you. But look at what you did when it was your turn, when you had the chance. Look at what you did. But you're telling me now not to do that to you? You know what I'm saying? So now it comes back and bite you.
It's every generation trying to forge their way. And I think sometimes you have to maybe feel the fire to know it's hot, right? Just someone explaining to you that there's a better way, there's a better recourse. You can still be professional and still get what you need. It might take more time, but there's a different route. It sounds like somebody is telling you to not take it as seriously or to like let it go. And so I think sometimes it's hard to get input from people who you don't think are necessarily in your shoes, even when they have been, right? The Virgin Islands is a source of lots of, I think, entertainers, but even more so, I think the creative outlets that we got, especially coming out of public school, because you and I both attended public school, elementary through high school, we were able to take advantage of the programs. But I want to share some business basics for people who don't have relatives, loved ones in the business, or for even people who haven't had the run that they've been hoping to have and want to get started. You know, we can talk about the basic professionalism that you need to exercise, like timeliness, concern and respect for the other person's other obligations. So making sure that you're never wasting someone else's time or an organization's time, right? No matter what. What else are the business basics for the creatives who are in that world where they want to be all day in the studio, they want to be writing, they think the script is ready, they're on camera, but there are some, I think, soft skills that complement the hard or technique that can help you go a long way. So what are the business basics that you'd like to share, standing where you are now?
Being honest, just being honest with yourself. You know, sometimes you know that your work isn't good. You know it yourself. You know, you think it is, because if you, let's say if you're doing music and you record a song and you play your song and you play a song that's on the radio, does it match up? Do you think you can compete with what's being played on radio? Did you put your best foot forward? Or do you think, you know what, I can do better than this? You know, practice, repetition, that type of thing is what, you know, people should be concentrating a lot more on. You know, sometimes people really know to themselves that a thing that they're doing is mediocre. And because they have 2 or 3 friends that's gassing them up and pushing them on, they're like, okay, yeah, well, such and such likes it, so I'm going to go with it. Like, no. And don't ask your mom either.
The parent bias is real.
You know what I'm saying? They're never going to feel like anything that you do is garbage. You know what I'm saying? So you have to be able to get out there and try to test your stuff amongst people that you don't know. And which is why, like for us in the film industry, and which is why we go to film festivals, right? You try to get your film in a film festival because you are now putting your stuff out there to be critiqued by people that have absolutely no investment into you and what you have going on. It's either I like it or I don't like it. It's either this is good or bad, right?
Honest evaluators who don't have an interest in keeping you happy, keeping you
I
their
know.
friend, staying on your payroll.
There you go. So you put yourself out in those type of places, or even if you're doing music, that's why we go to open mics. You go to an open mic night, you try that record out. You try out how do you look performing on stage. You do those type of things so that people can be able to give you a proper assessment of what it is that you're doing. But if you're not trying to do any of that stuff, if you're not willing to put yourself out there, then it's you're doing a disservice to yourself. So that's something that I would say, just being honest with yourself, making sure that you keep people around you that you trust, that you believe in, that believes in you. Try your best not to waste too much time, not people's time at all. Be as timely as possible, because those are things that reflect on you later on when you move forward, right? Then another thing that I would always say to people, one of my biggest things that I always leave off in any interview or any public speaking, treat everyone with respect. I don't care if it's the biggest person in the room to the person that just opened the door for you to just walk into the room. Treat everyone with respect, because everyone has a dream and everyone has a goal, right? So that guy or young lady that just opened, all they're doing tonight is opening the door for people to walk into the room. But they're at that position with dreams of being the person that's going to be walking into the room, whether it's as the top actor, actress, the top musician, the executive, the owner of a label. You never know where that person is going to be a year from now. But you just treated that person like a peon. You treated them horrible because, they're not on your level or anything like that. You see what I'm saying? So now those people, they remember things. They come back around a year later and they're like, I remember you. I remember a year ago, you did this, and this to me. Now, you done lived your life for the past year. You don't even remember what this person is talking about. But they held on to that one chance meeting that they had with you. That one time you said no to taking a picture, to an autograph, to even giving a simple word of hello, a greeting, how are you? You know what I'm saying? They remember that for the next 2, 5, 10 years.
Forever.
And now they're in a position where they can be like, oh, you want this thing that I control now? Yeah, no. You can go. And when they go out the room, all of those people are gonna be like, yo, why did you do that? Don't you know who that is? That's such and such. Yeah, but that person treated me like crap 10 years ago. You know what I'm saying? And they hold on to it. So treat everyone with respect so that you never have to go through anything like that. You know what I'm saying? So people that I meet around the world, when I meet back up with them years later, they're always like, man, the first time I met you, you gave me some advice about such and such and such. Or you did this and this for me. You helped me with this thing. You didn't even know who I was. I didn't have to care who you were. I just did a good thing for someone that needed help. You see what I'm saying? So that's something that I always try to make sure that people know and understand within this industry, regardless of whichever industry it is that you go into. Always treat people with respect. There's nothing wrong with giving a kind word to someone or giving someone a cool greeting when you meet them. You know what I mean? When you see people like me and Tehran walk into a room, damn near everybody inside the room is going to get a handshake or a dap from us. Hey, what's up? I'm Benny D. Hey, what's up? I'm Tehran. Just introducing yourself. Why not? What's the problem with that? You know what I'm saying? we walk into rooms where everybody's face is all screwed up. And we're like, hey, what's up, y'all? How y'all doing? You know, because I have nothing in my life to be angry about. I'm not sure what they have to be angry about either, but sometimes you calm the energy down by just giving a good greeting to someone, you know what I'm saying? Or they may have had a perception of you, and now you just destroy that whole perception by coming into the room and being calm and cool with them. They were like, man, I never expected that, you know? So, you know, those are things that I would always tell to people. Just make sure that they treat people with respect, be honest, be as honest as you can in your field, in your industry, whatever it is that you're doing, and keep a good work ethic, man. Nothing beats a good work ethic. You know, put in the work, and you will get better, or you will get recognized for what it is that you're doing. Like you say, sometimes take 10 years to become an overnight success.
What has surprised you most throughout your career, of your experiences, of your encounters? What has surprised you most? For example, I'll share that I think the first person I met was probably Sinbad, the comedian, who came to the Kmart
When he
concert
was on St. Thomas, yeah.
in St. Thomas. And like, okay, cool. But when I saw Sinbad, I think it was memorable because the quality of his art was stellar, and I remember he did it without cussing, so that was something that stood out. I was able to watch it. But then when we met, to your point, he was warm and very, very welcoming. There was nothing that, if I didn't realize who he was, would tell me that he's a celebrity. He was just a gentleman greeting a student
Yeah.
journalist, right? So I think that was something that was really, I think, surprising, but now at this point, not so surprising, because you gain an understanding of just how life works. But that's something that was super surprising. And I remember to this day, you know, these experiences you take with you. So if you're not in the best mood, try to do your best to not mess up anybody else's mood, because
Right.
people remember.
So I think some of the most surprising things for me is some of the rooms that I'm in now.